Aloha! We're here in Honolulu, Hawaii for the Plant Biology 17th Annual Conference. I'm your host, Rishi Masalia, and we're Between the Palms. To another episode of Between the Palms. Today I am joined by Debbie Delmer, a National Academy of Science member. So Debbie, how long have you been in the American Society of Plant Biologists?
Well, without revealing my age.
Of course. No exact dates.
I think it's really around 50 years.
Really?
Yeah. In the mid-60s.
In the mid-60s you joined.
Right.
Were you a graduate student?
I was a graduate student at the time.
Where were you located as a graduate student?
At UC San Diego.
UC San Diego.
Yeah.
And you're currently based at Professor Emeritus.
I'm retired now. I live in the mountains of North Carolina.
Oh, there we go.
But I still keep active and consult and I'm on advisory boards.
Get around. So, in over the 50 years or so that you've been involved in ASPB in plant biology, how has plant biology or ASPB changed in that time?
It's just phenomenal.
Yeah?
Yeah, we used to go to the meetings, and they were held on university campuses.
Oh, really?
Always
Instead of
hot
fancy,
with no air conditioning is what one of my members, we stayed in the dorms, and we would always look around for where some of the notables were having their drinking parties at night.
I'm glad that hasn't changed in 50 years.
We had amazing parties. It was so small then that as a student you got to meet everybody.
So then now at a meeting like this where there's a couple thousand people, there's so many posters downstairs. How does that compare to back then? It's
just phenomenal. Yeah. We didn't even have posters at first.
Oh, really?
Every graduate student gave a talk.
Oh, see, we should re-implement that. Every graduate student gets a talk.
It's a good idea, but I think it would be
There's too many people now. Yeah.
That's right. Yeah, it was. But that was a great thing. I think today I wonder how lucky students are to get to meet older scientists that have been pioneers in a field. And it probably depends on how good their advisors are helping them get to meet them.
Networking and getting to conferences.
And so on, but it must be harder. On the other hand, the science is phenomenally more sophisticated, and I think probably the onset of Arabidopsis and
the model system,
tools, and the ability, all the technologies for imaging, for genomics, everything, it's just transformative.
Right. We just have the ability to ask bigger and broader questions, I think.
Yeah.
Right. I know sequencing has played a big role, at least in my dissertation, in terms of being able to answer the questions that I'm interested in. That's only been around, really 10, 15 years.
I think you've seen, for example, in plant breeding, genomics has changed the face of plant breeding.
Yeah, exactly.
It's just completely different.
I know we have marker-assisted breeding and everything like that. That's all.
It's just now completely different.
So you had mentioned being able to meet influential scientists, and so what was your research in when you were a practicing faculty member?
We studied the biosynthesis of cellulose, which is the world's most abundant organic compound, and for years and years nobody knew anything about it. And I started as a biochemist, and we were trying to make cellulose in vitro, isolate the enzymes, and it turned out to be a big mess. And I think the breakthrough came when I did a sabbatical with Dave Stalker at Calgene, because I wanted to learn molecular biology as well as biochemistry, or learn some anyway. And we worked on cotton fibers that they end up being 99% cellulose or 95% cellulose. So they're little factories for it. So that was the time when we looked for gene sequences that might have some similarity to the glycosyl transferases that might be cellulose synthesis. And Dave said, here's something that looks kind of interesting.
Isn't that how science always happens? You find something. It's never a eureka moment. It's always like, it looks a little weird.
I was waiting for my husband to get a transplant for his heart in the Cleveland Clinic, and I sat and doodled with the sequences, and we came up with the first plant sequence for a cellulose synthase.
Wow, that's fascinating.
And
That's
that was
amazing.
in cotton, but then once the Arabidopsis people could
Right.
find the same sequences, it really opened
It
up.
really took off because the Arabidopsis is
Yeah.
the model.
Yeah, and it opened up the genetics completely.
Right.
Yeah.
So I know that throughout your very interesting career, you have also worked with NGOs, nonprofits, right?
Yes, when
So-
I
or
was
foundations.
60, my husband had passed away. My daughter went off to do her thing in life, and I was left I was chair of plant biology at UC
Yeah.
Davis, and I said, I think I need something different. And I was lucky that I got a job at the Rockefeller Foundation in New York City.
Right.
Packed up
And moved to New York.
left my plant genome grant and my lab and everything behind and started over in something I didn't know very much about, which
Right.
was developing world agriculture. But I was a program officer there and the major things I'm proudest of were working in Africa, where we looked for talent, and I was going around to different places in Eastern Africa and Southern Africa,
Mhm.
looking for young people that looked promising and partnering them in projects. We would give grants with an American scientist or a European scientist, and
Right.
we educated PhDs that way,
Mhm.
and also got some projects going and collaborations between countries. It was fascinating.
That
Yeah.
sounds fascinating.
Still is, yeah.
So you also spent time working with, or maybe you still do actually, with the Gates Foundation.
Yes, since I retired from the Rockefeller Foundation, I have done consulting with the Gates
Yeah.
Foundation, similar kinds of
Food security.
food security
Yeah.
issues, and yeah, I've reviewed grants, go and look at projects and so on. And they've made a tremendous impact. And,
Yeah, absolutely.
yeah.
So, do you have any advice for young scientists, graduate students, postdocs,
Yeah.
or even early career faculty members who are interested in getting involved with, nonprofit organizations?
Yes, I'm asked this a lot, and it isn't very easy. I fell into it because somebody I knew very well knew that they were looking for a job and blah, blah,
Right,
blah, and
right.
so
It's
on.
the person you know knows the person who knows.
And that's a lot the way that happens.
Right.
But one of the things I suggest to people, if they're at this stage where they're just thinking about a postdoc and
Yeah.
not sure what they want to do and which field to get into, to look and see if they can find a possibility to do a postdoc abroad in international agriculture and some of the institutes of the CGIR, like ERI in the Philippines, or CIMMYT in Mexico, or ICRISAT in India,
Right.
provide opportunities like that. You can go and see if you like that kind of work.
Yes.
Get yourself a little more intelligent about talking about it.
Right.
And,
It seems like it's a real life experience. If you want to work in food security in a developing nation, go do that.
yeah,
Try it.
you
right?
really have to get your feet wet.
Right. Don't just talk about it. Actually go do it. Yeah, that's great
Right.
advice.
Yeah.
I think that's going to do it for this episode of Between the Palms. And Debbie, thank you so much
Thank
for taking
you.
the time.
It was fun.
And we'll catch you next time.